Hey everybody, welcome back to the Comic Fix. Now, in this video, I'm going to finally be doing my reviews for the DC Comics that came out last week. Now, I'm so sorry that this video is coming out a little bit late. I had a whole lot of work. I even had at my work, because I work in the medical field, we all went on lockdown, and so for the last couple of days, I've been just working to help keep people healthy. So, I am back, and I got 4 comic reviews to do for you guys today. First up is Superman Action Comics issue number 16. Now, with this issue, just be warned that if you're coming into the series at this point, you're not going to know what's going on whatsoever. Even I don't really know where this plot is going. With Grant Morrison, he has these grand ideas. And a lot of times when he does a series and he has these huge ideas, it takes till the last issue to figure out how he wraps everything up. With this being the second to last issue for Grant Morrison on Action Comics, everything feels like it's almost in limbo. You got this expansive story that's taking place in this one issue, taking place basically in 3 time periods. We got the first time period in the Legion of Superheroes time. The second one is I don't know when, but all we do know is that it has to deal with, and that's in that time, Superman had died. So we do know in the DC Comics that Superman did die at a certain point. And then the third one is in the now. Now we got this villain who is manipulating all the different timelines, and it can attack Superman at any time. And so with that, you really are confused at exactly what's happening at what time. Because an issue like issue 14, where Superman went to Mars, that didn't happen in the now. That actually happened in the future. So it's all really jumbled up. And hopefully Grant Morrison can actually bring the story together. Now this issue in particular, I really love the art. The artwork in here is by... I don't know who the artwork was done by, but he did a fantastic job. Especially on the part with the Legion of Superheroes, because I read my first ever Legion of Superheroes issue last month, and I really enjoyed it. It was more of a child, or an all ages type of book, and it wasn't as serious, and I just really enjoyed it. Let's see, the Brad Walker and Rags Morales. Now, Walker, he did the first part with the Legionnaires, and then Morales, I believe, he did the rest of the issue. So this was it was a mixed baggage. I mean, there's a lot of questions happening that you really want answered. What do we figure out in this book? Well, we do know that Superman did die in the New 52. We do know that Lex Luthor has the purple outfit, or purple battle suit that he battles Superman with. So we got all these little kind of like what happened in the New 52, but this issue still is quite a mess. I mean, the storyline, if you're not following it really closely, you're going to be lost. What I'm going to be doing is, once the 17th issue comes out, I'm going to reread all 17 issues and do a video on how Grant Morrison did with Action Comics. And that's going to be a part of my Who's Who, the New 52. That'll be my first one I'm going to be doing. So, this issue, in the end, Action Comics issue number 16, will get a little bit of a confusing 2 out of 5. I mean, I think if I read it more as a whole, and that we get a big old omnibus or a collection of all of Grant Morrison's run Action Comics, maybe the thing will feel more cohesive. But since I have that missing issue number 17, which will be coming out next month, hopefully he can wrap everything up, because everything just feels such a mess, and there's all these plot lines all over the place. I just wonder, how is Grant Morrison going to put everything together? And another thing about Action Comics is that when the New 52 started, Grant Morrison basically, or DC, stated that this is the Superman for the New 52. And Grant Morrison, he started out the series so well. I mean, I enjoyed the first 3 issues. And then he started going off in all these different directions. And it seemed like there was never any focus for Superman after that point. and maybe he didn't really help the case for Superman in the New 52. They had the Superman main title, which was going nowhere at the time at the beginning of the New 52, and Grant Morrison was supposed to be that one that was supposed to ride the ship and make us feel like there was a foundation for Superman. And Grant Morrison was that foundation, and I don't believe he did this job. And now Scott Liddell comes on to Superman, and it feels like he's building a foundation for Superman. And especially with the Hell on Earth story arc. And Roger, I think I Twittered you and you said that you're going to be starting it after Hell on Earth, so good job. And Hell on Earth is just bringing a foundation for Superman. So there actually is some hope for Superman at this point, and that is in Scott Liddell's hands. And hopefully after Grant Morrison is done, Superman is going to be put into the now with, I don't know who the writer is, but hopefully he can ride the ship, and maybe Grant Morrison can actually finish off the story arc that he's telling and maybe make it cohesive. So the next book I'm going to be talking about is Batman Detective Comics issue number 16. As you can see on here, we got the Death of the Family tie-in. Now, when is this basically taking place? Well, first off, a lot of people on the forums of different comic book sites I go to were kind of complaining because they think that because the Joker is not in this issue, that is not a Death of the Family tie-in or is not good. Now, John Layman, he's the new writer on this series. He's been doing about 4 issues so far. And it's kind of hard for somebody who just come onto a series, is trying to build his own foundation for the series, to be thrown into a crossover event, or be forced into a crossover event. So we have John Layman trying to do this stuff with the Penguin. And with his crossover event that he's put into, he does a pretty damn good job. This whole thing is taking place, I believe, after the event of the Joker going into the Gotham PD and killing off some police officers. I believe it's taking place after that. Batman has not fought the Joker yet. He has not talked to the Joker yet. I believe it's right after the event of the Gotham PD. So everybody in Gotham knows that the Joker is around. And what does that bring? It brings out the crazy in everybody. People believe that in the vision of the Joker, and so it just brings out all this chaos all over the place. And what's funny thing is reading it, you hear Batman talking about how when Joker's in town, it brings out the worst out of everybody, and the crime that happens in Gotham is up. Well, in Nightwing, before the events of Death of the Family, it talked about how the Joker was there, but because of Shiva being there, it was Gotham was quiet, and Nightwing was like, dude, what the hell is so quiet? But then you look at Detective Comics and you're like, hell is breaking loose. So there's just a little bit of a continuity error in that part. But let's just get back onto the thing. So we have Batman just going and trying to stop all these Joker fakes. And then the villains trying to bring up the Joker and being like, we're going to raise him up to be a god. And so we're going to be painting our faces and going and causing havoc. And it's interesting to see John Layman take Batman and put him up against these regular, ordinary thugs. And Batman just kicks the ass out of them. There's certain points where Batman goes to the Joker fakes and just stands there, and all the people just start running. So it's just a cool little way to see the persona of Batman in John Layman's writing and the way that the artwork portrayed it. Jason Fabok is the artist in this issue, and he does a fantastic job. But with all these fakes, there is usually one group that is a threat to Batman or to Gotham. Because really no one's a threat to Batman. But so there's this one group who are called the League of Smiles. And they're going around, they're causing all this havoc. There's even a point in there where they're basically going to blow up this building and kill all the people inside of it. And they know that Batman's about 11 minutes away. And they're going and killing everybody, and Batman finally gets there, and he was like, you see, I believe you see in the bubbles of Batman thinking, he basically says, if this was the true Joker, these guys, the Joker could have got this done in 6 minutes and not in 11 minutes. So it's just some cool inner dialogue between Batman and this issue. And John Layman is actually building the foundation for a series even in the midst of this death of the family, where he's been building up the Penguin. Now the Penguin has been the centerfold for all the little things that have been happening in Gotham, and he's kind of like the in-between guy. Well, in the last issue, we saw that the Penguin went to go and do the stuff with the Joker. And he puts, the Penguin gives all like the power to his second-hand guy. And his second-hand guy, just the way he's becoming, as he says, the Emperor Penguin and taking over all the stuff that the Penguin has done to this point, because he believes that the Joker, or the Penguin, is not coming back. And just to see the foundation that's being built up with the story with Emperor Penguin is so freaking cool. John Layman, I know that he is so good at building a world, like what he did with Chew, is that build a world and just ravishing in it. And I believe that's what he's doing here. It doesn't feel like he's trying to be Scott Snyder or Greg Hurwitz. He's trying to do a John Layman Batman story. And it feels so right. I mean, there's some people who are saying there's too many Batman stories out there. Well, we're getting a different Batman in every single book. And the ones that feel really cohesive with each other is Batman and Nightwing. They're kind of going the same direction for the whole entire time with the New 52. But now that Death of the Family is going to be over, as the writer for Nightwing said, Nightwing's going off his own direction. And I believe what's going to happen is that Nightwing's going to be going away from Gotham and doing his own thing someplace else. So John Layman is definitely building the foundation for this series with issue number 16. And it is a good tie-in to Death of the Family. And I want to actually do a timeline for Death of the Family, because people are like, how the hell is this all happening? Well, the parts with the Robins and all the other people are taking place in 3 days. So I'm going to be doing, hopefully, once I get time, to do a big old, kind of like what Roger does with his videos with the essentials for different events that happen in DC Comics, where I'll do a timeline for Death of the Family. So, in the end, I'm going to Batman Detective Comics, issue number 16, 4 out of 5. I really enjoyed this issue. There's a lot to love. And John Layman, he's definitely building the foundation for what he wants to do in the future of Detective Comics after Death of the Family is done. And I really love this cover of just, you just see Batman, and he's got the laughter joke, and you see the pictures of the Joker all over the place. Really, really freaking cool. Next up, Animal Man issue number 16. Now, Jeff Lemire, what he's been doing interesting with his Animal Man since the Rot World happened, he took shots at, what's his name? Let me see. Oh, I'm not on Twitter. Hold on, folks. Robert Liefeld. He took shots at Robert Liefeld. And it was so freaking awesome. And then after he took the shots to Robert Liefeld, you kind of see Jeff Lemire building up his characters in Justice League Dark. You have Animal Man teaming up with the Justice League Dark characters, and they're finally taking control and taking the fight to the Rot. And so in this issue, we see Animal Man trying to free a Green Lantern. Now, in my prediction when I did my comic haul, I said I bet that this is Guy Gardner. Well, nope. This is actually a new Green Lantern who came from a planet which was basically just the green all over the place. This guy looks like a tree almost, and so he was a perfect person to go and try to fight the Rot. And it was cool though because to see how the Guardians in this in the Rot world were not these villainous creatures that we see in the regular continuity. It was nice to see that little change and see how the Guardians, what they did is when all this rot is going all over the place and destroying everything, they know that if the rot got out and started to go to different planets, it would be almost the end of all civilization. So what did they do? They went and quarantined Earth. And it was just such a cool idea. And you can see that the way that the Guardians are playing, that they are thinkers and that they're not these maniacal beasts that we're seeing in the Rise of the Third Army story arc. So that was really, really cool, and it was kind of a little bit almost refreshing to see. And to know that the Guardians are not going to be, or not going to be destroyed after the Green Lantern stuff that's going on in the Green Lantern books. Because that's what it's kind of feeling like with the Green Lantern books. It's kind of feeling like Kyle Rayner is going to get control of all the colors of the emotion spectrum and destroy the Guardians. And then I think that the old Guardians will be destroyed, and the Guardians that were keeping the first Green Lantern captive will be the new Guardians. As you can tell, I'm a big DC fan, and I just love the world around DC Comics, and that's what kind of been my main focus for DC Comics as a whole, or DC Comics for my reviews, is that I love DC Comics. I love the continuity in there, especially since the New 52 started, and just seeing all these little pieces being put into different books just make this whole experience that much better. So it was just a cool little element in Element issue number 16 with the Green Lanterns. Now, usually a negative for me is that when I see a book that has two artists on the book. Well, in this one, there are two artists, but it's interesting to see the way it takes. There's one artist for all the events are taking place in the future with Animal Man, and there's a different artist for the events that are taking place in the now with Maxine. Now the scenes with Maxine is the daughter of Animal Man, and that she is the champion of the Red. And she is going to go up against the three monsters that's been basically hunting down Maxine and her family. And these monsters, these beasts of the rot, have control of Maxine's mother, her brother, and her grandmother. And they basically tell her, you come join us, we'll let them go. And it was so cool to see the way that all this tension was being played out and the artwork that was being portrayed by it, which is so freaking sick. And then you have Maxine's cat, Socks, who is a part of the Red. And just to see the dialogue between Maxine and Socks was so freaking sick. And just you feel this tension that's going on between Maxine. Can't she, because she knows that she can destroy the three rot warriors that are right in front of her, but she knows if she did that, it would kill her family. And the decisions that she makes in this issue just are so, you don't know where it's gonna go, but you know it's bad. And the way that it ends, it feels like something out of The Empire Strikes Back, where Han Solo, he's been frozen in carbonite, and everything just feels at a loss. And then the way that this book ends, it ends at a loss, and you know that things are not looking up for our heroes. And that's what makes this whole Rot World event so great, is that we have Animal Man, Swamp Thing trying to go to this one destination, all going a separate route. And how they're both fighting the same cause, and just how everything is working out. It's just so cool. Like you got an Animal Man where you had his group and John Constantine talking about what happened to Superman, and did Superman just leave Earth because no one had seen Superman, and then to find out Swamp Thing that yes, the Rot did get Superman, and that he is basically the nuke. for Arcane. So some interesting stuff happening here. Just to see the way that Jeff Lemire and Scott Snyder are working together in this event has made one of those events that just, it feels so natural and great. I mean, I do know that there's some people saying that they feel a little fatigue over Rot World because it did take basically a year to get here. But now that we're here and we're at the threshold of the final issue, I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know how it's going to end. How is everything going to be put back together? And to know that Jeff Lemire, who's the writer of Animal-Man, is going to be sticking on to this series for 2013, and I just am so interested to see where he's going to take this. He's been building up the dark side of DC Comics to this great, beautiful thing. And then to have Del Toro, the director, going to be directing basically a Justice League Dark movie, is so freaking fantastic. I mean, it's such a good time to be a fan of not just DC Comics, but in particular the Justice League, or the dark side of DC Comics. iVampire is just so freaking fantastic, and to hear that's gonna be canceled is so disappointing. Which I will be doing a video about that to tell everyone, go and buy iVampire, and if we all come together and we buy iVampire, we can all go and save this book, because this book is so grand, but no one's buying it, or people are just waiting for the trades to come out. So everyone, go out and buy iVampire, because I know James Donnelly did a whole video on it, and I agree 100%. Go and buy iVampire. So in the end, I'm gonna give Animal-Man issue number 16. Even though I had 2 artists, I have to do this a 5 out of 5. I think this is the first time I actually give a 5 out of 5 to a book that's 2 artists in there. These artists were doing 2 different parts of the story, and it was just so grand. I just loved this issue. Probably one of the best ones in Animal-Man to date. It's just so good. Jeff Lemire, he's just a great writer, and I do believe that 2013 is going to be a year of Jeff Lemire. And he's going to be basically the Scott Snyder. Scott Snyder and Jeff Lemire are going to be the 2 architects for DC Comics. Yeah, actually there will be 3 architects. So, of course, it's Jeff Johns, and he's the architect for Justice League and Green Lantern. And then we got the architect of Scott Snyder in the Batman universe. And then we have Jeff Lemire in the Dark universe, and then we got Teen Titans with Scott Lobdell. It's like, bleh. So the next book that we're going to be reviewing, and the last one for this video, is Green Lanterns The New Guardians Annual number 1. Now, I don't know why they had the Green Lanterns The New Guardians in here, because this book has nothing to do with Green Lanterns The New Guardians. It had barely anything to do with Kyle Rayner. There's only like 2 pages of him in there. And all the rest is just basically a 0 issue for Threshold. Now, I wasn't really excited for Threshold, but I knew I was going to buy it. Just give it a try. Give every single new DC comic book 3 issues to impress me and to keep on going. Well, with this annual, as I said, it all takes place in Threshold, building up the foundation, or the little storyline for Threshold. And it was just a book that was all over the place. There's like 4 different artists in here, 4 different colorists. It was just a jumbled mess. I mean, I tried to read it and I was just like, okay, that's a little distracting. Or this artwork looks really terrible. No, this art looks even worse. I mean, there was no cohesiveness between this book. There was no cohesiveness even between the storylines that were being told. It just felt like a jumbled mess. And the thing that irked me the most is I was hoping that this annual will be the focal point to say, okay, Kyle Rayner, who is trying to get all the control of all the emotion spectrum, I was hoping this issue would just finish that storyline off, so then he could go off in the next couple issues and go and destroy the Guardians. But nope, we get a story about Threshold, and it was not that good. I mean, the writing in here was subpar to say the least. The artwork was just god awful. I just could not get into it. I wanted to. I really, really wanted to, but I just couldn't. And then to see that Threshold was going to be a $3.99 book irks me. I mean, there's a lot of books that I think all comic books should be $2.99. But what the DC does is they have most of their books $2.99, and in each wave they have one $3.99 book. And this wave it is Threshold. I don't know what I think about it. They're gonna have an extra story in there, which sometimes those extra stories don't really matter. It just feels like that they're like, okay, we need to get this artist, this new up and coming artist, and give him a little tryout. So we put him on one of these $3.99 books with an extra story in the back, and we'll let him try out. Well, in Action Comics issue number 16, the guy that they got to do the artwork in the backup story, fantastic. So hopefully they get some cool little artists that just makes you go, okay, that was really cool. Other than that, I'm not excited for Threshold. This annual was supposed to get you excited for Threshold, and it didn't. It didn't at all. It just made me go, wow. This was a terrible, terrible issue. And I know it's an annual, and with an annual, it's supposed to be about the title, the book title. I mean, you would expect going into an annual, it'll be about Kyle Rayner and the new Guardians. Not about Threshold. And maybe I would have been a little bit nicer to it if it actually had something for me and then gave me some little excitement for the series. And it doesn't. I mean, I've not heard a good review about this book. It was just some jumbled mess. Hopefully, with less pages, the writer can actually hone in his skills and have one artist on there, and maybe they can actually make something out of this just god-awful annual that came out. Ugh, it didn't have anything for me. Anything at all. There was nothing I could look at and say, oh, that was good. Because all the characters that they're introducing in Threshold with that Green Lantern that's like a spy almost, his storyline, his character moments were just dumb. In the way that they had Star Sapphire, it was just dumb. There was nothing in this issue that made me go, I want more. I will be picking up Threshold issue number 1 just to review it. And maybe, just maybe, it will surprise me just like Superior Spider-Man surprised me. But it just had nothing for me. So I'm going to give Green Lantern, the New Guardians annual issue number 1 0.5 out of 5. I really don't even know why I'm giving it a 0.5. It's a 0. It's a god awful book. And to be paying $5 for this shit, it's maddening. I mean, why would DC Comics be like, okay, this looks like a good $5 issue. We got like 5 different artists in there, 5 different artists, a writer who's writing a story which doesn't make a whole hell of a lot of sense, and for a book to not even be about the main series. Terrible, terrible stuff. And that's how I'm going to end this video, with a terrible book. But just know, if you guys go read Animal Man, it's fantastic. It was one of those books that just blown my mind. And I hope you guys like the new style that I'm doing with these reviews, where it's less about what's inside the book and more about what I thought about it and just having a general talk. And it's almost like a podcast almost. So in my next video, I'm going to be doing 5 more books, and then that'll be it. And then next week, I'll be able to do my new comics. So I'll see you guys next time.